crafters, welcome back and thanks for joining me. This is Jonna with Purple Girl Crafts. Today we're going to be making this sliding card, but this one, what I did is I created a pocket for a gift card. So this would be a great last minute thing if you're giving gift cards and you want to make it a special gift card. This is a card that you can make. This card requires no die cuts. I will post the penguins and the sentiments inside the December folder should you want to use those sentiments. So let's just go ahead and get started. So we'll need our scoreboard, and our first pieces, we'll need 2 pieces, and these are going to be cut at 5 by 5, and you're going to need a blue one and a white one. And they're both 5 by 5. Then we will need 2 pieces, and these are going to be cut at 2 3/8 by 5 1/2. I know it looks a little bit bigger, but cut them at 2 3/8. Then we need 1 piece, and now this is just a piece of paper, and this is one of the sentiments, but you want to make it at 2 7/8, and then just the length of the paper, or this one's at 8 1/2. But this is when you print it, this is how it'll come out, but you want it to be that 2 7/8. And then the other side, again, this one, you want it to be 3 inches when you cut it. So make it 3 inches wide. Then we need 1 piece at 2 7/8 by 4 1/2. And then we need a piece on top of that. And that one's going to be 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Then we will need 1 piece, and this is going to be 4 3/4 by 4 3/4 square. And then you'll need 1 piece at 4 1/2 by 4. Next, on to the piece that we are going to do for this sentiment. Now this, again, you want it to be 3 inches wide, and because your card is going to be about 2 inches, a normal gift card. And so you just want to make sure, so I'm just lining this up to see where I want it. And then I'm just going to take my pencil, and I just want to make sure I can get an even border on both sides. So I'm just going to put my pencil marks where I know the width of the card is and kind of line it up. And then I can see how far I am. And so we're going to score this piece, and we're just going to do it on both sides, but we're going to do it at 5/8 or 3/8 of an inch. And you want to do that, just turn it and then do it again. So just line up that 3/8 inch and then just go ahead, just score that. All right, so we'll work on the rest of that in a little bit, but you just want to make sure that your card will slide, fit in there, and have a little bit room to slide. All right, so we're done with the scoreboard for right now, so we'll move that piece out of the way. And next we're going to work on the inside piece for the mechanism. Now this is the piece that is 4 by 4 1/2. So we're going to grab our trimmer, and you want to line this up on the 4 1/2 inch side, and line it up at 1/2 inch. And then you're going to take your cutter and you're going to go from 3 1/2 and down to 1/2. Then just flip it over and do the same thing. So just start at 3 1/2 and cut it down to 1/2. Then you can turn it, and then we're just going to cut off those pieces. So you're just going to cut from the bottom to that first line, and then pick up your blade and go from the cut line you did down to the end. And then turn it and do the same thing. Line it up at 1/2 inch, cut from the bottom to that score or the cut line, lift your blade, and then cut again. And this is the piece that you'll have. That's for the plastic to sit in there to slide. Right now for the piece of plastic, this is just 3 inches wide, and it's about 9 inches long. You just want to make sure that it does go from side to side on your piece. I'm just making sure this is 3 inches. So we're just going to wrap this around, and then we're just going to tape it down. And I'm just making sure that it fits and that it's going to slide good. Right, so we're going to use our double-sided tape. And I'm just going to tape one end, and I can't see this, so let me just grab a piece of paper so I can see underneath. That's really not helping much, but all right, so we're just gonna go, now you don't wanna go all the way to the edge on the side. Go just a little bit in, just in case, so it doesn't get stuck to anything. All right, and then I'll just cut that piece off. And you can see I missed. So I'm just gonna lift it up just a little bit and then just cut that off because I don't want it to go all the way to the end. All right. So you're gonna grab your piece, make sure the tape is secure. And you just wanna lift your piece up, put your end on, so just line it up with the edge, and then just wrap that piece around, making sure it's not too tight. Go ahead and take off that top layer of that tape. And then we're just going to lay this down. Again, don't pull it too tight. And then once you have it, and you have just a little bit of give on it, just fold that over and then push that onto that tape. And then you want to go ahead and just cut that extra piece off. Okay, so that is for the mechanism on the inside. Next, we're going to work on the inside pieces. So we have our top of our card and the bottom, and so that polka dot paper is going to sit on the top. So this is for just, again, the top and the bottom. But before we do that, we're going to work on this piece, the mechanism. So it's going to sit on the side like this because the pieces are going to pull to the right and left. So I'm grabbing all of the pieces that I need. So again, we need that sentiment on the inside. And then we need that one white piece that we did, the designer paper, and then the two blue pieces. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut out our corners on one end on all of these. So this, again, like I said, it's going to slide. So this is going to fit underneath. This is going to fit underneath the blue one. It's going to go underneath the white one just to give it a little bit more stability. And you want it to stick out about a 1/2 inch. So these pieces are a little bit long. So we're going to cut off on the end once we get them down. But before we do that, we're going to glue this designer paper on first. And I'm just going to make sure that's got that even border all the way around. So this piece is going to fit just under there, and you just want it to be in the center and lined up. And again, you want a 1/2 inch on the right hand side left over, so it's going to be too long, and then we'll just cut that extra piece off. But this is going to sit on this side, and then it's going to pull to the right. So I'm just making sure that it does fit in between that track and everything looks good. Now for the other side, the mechanism or this white piece, it's going to be on facing up when you glue it down. So let me just grab a piece of tape just so I can put this down, just so I can show you what I mean. So this piece, first of all, is going to get glued. You want to make sure when you tape it or glue it, you're gluing it to the side that has the tape from the top. So the tape is on the left side. Because when you slide it to the right, if the tape is on the other side, it won't pull. Right, so it'll pull like this. So that's for the right side. And that's where the little gift card's going to sit. Then on the other side, we have this piece that's going to pull from the right to the left. But you want to make sure that you've got it long enough and that your mechanism or your sentiment shows when you fully open the card. So I'm just kind of laying this out just to make sure that it does fit. Again, this piece is going to be a little bit smaller, so I'm not going to worry about those blue pieces at the bottom for right now. Move some of this out of the way. Okay, so this is just temporarily taped down. And again, this blue piece is going to fit under here. But the white piece, this is the piece that we have to make sure that, so when we're pulling it to the right or to the left, that it will, the mechanism, or the sentiment will be visible. So I'm just lining this up on this one. Now you can do it upside down if you want, but this should work out. So right now I'm just making sure it's lined up on the bottom of the card. And again, that's going to sit right there. So this piece, you want to make sure your sentiment is fully showing. So you want to go from the edge of the card, and that's the outside of the card. So I'm just going to line it up. So I want to put my line there, and I want to cut it at the end of the other side. So I'm just going to move this down just a little bit. I'm going to take a pencil mark. So I'm going to cut it right at that end. And I want to make sure again that my words are sticking out fully when it's open, and then at the other end of the card. So we're just going to cut this piece down based on the other piece that we already have done. So we're going to cut this down just that little bit, like I said. And then we're going to also cut out the corners. So don't forget to do that. So again, so when this sits on that side, then when it pulls, it'll pull out and you'll be able to see the entire words. So let me just get rid of this tape. And let's go ahead and let's just punch out those corners. All right, again, so this piece is going to go on the bottom and you're going to glue it face up. The blue pieces will be on the back of it. And that's just to give it that little extra room. So let's just move these out of the way and let's put these pieces together. Right, so you can see you have about a 1/2 inch on each end. So you want to do a 1/2 inch from the blue to the white piece. So I'm going to put glue just on this back of this white one. And I'm just kind of marking it just so I know where to put glue so I don't go over the edge. And then I'm just going to put glue all the way up on it. And then down. And then we're going to glue this piece to it. Actually, let me get this other piece of card out of the way so I don't mess that up. And it'd probably be easier if I just lay this one down. So lay the blue one, flip this over even though you have glue on it. And we're going to go a 1/2 inch from the top. Make sure it's lined up. Pushing it there just so I can make sure I turn it over and that it's straight. And then go ahead and secure that down. And then we can just cut off that extra piece on the end because we don't need that. And then we'll do the same thing to the other side. So we're going to line this one up. This time on this one, I think I'm just going to put glue on it. I'm going to go a 1/2 inch from the end and then just put glue all the way around it. Either way, it's fine, whichever way you're more comfortable doing it. And then I just lined that up and then I just made sure that it was all the way down. And then we will just cut off that extra piece. All right, so that's done. All right, so you have your top and your bottom pieces. And now again, we're going to take the bottom piece and this, we're going to work on these 2 extra pieces. Now this piece again is going to be for the gift card. And we're going to do the same concept. We want to make sure that we've got enough room on the end so that it will slide under and not get caught when you open and close the card. I'm just measuring how much I want of it. And then I'm just going to put just a little mark just on either side of it. And I'm giving it just a little bit of extra room just so the card will fit right into that slot. And I'm going to take my trimmer and I'm going to trim this piece down. I'm just going to cut right on those little markings that I made. And it's, again, it's the length of the gift card. Now, if you want to go a little bit more so you can put an end to it, go ahead and do about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch extra from your mark. And then we can go ahead and we're going to just fold those down, increase them out. And before you do the second side, just make sure again that it will fit in there. And this fits perfectly. It's got just a little bit of room to slide, so it won't be too tight. It fits in there perfectly. Then I have a thumb punch. And I'm just going to line this up just on my little board just so I can see where the center point is. And I'm going to put a mark just in the center. And then I'm going to do my little punch with my thumb punch. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do a small one, just enough so that you can grab the gift card. Just making sure it's right in the center, just like that. And that way they've got room just to pull it out. All right, for the end, I'm going to grab my scoreboard and I'm going to do just about a 3/8 inch, again, just a little bit. And you can take your card and just line it up and then just put a pencil mark or just know how much you want to do. And this is about 3/8 of an inch to a 1/4 inch. It's not a lot. It's just enough to keep that card from going in too far. And then just go ahead and cut off the edges at an angle cut, and then just go ahead and fold that piece down. And then we'll just fold these again just to make sure they lay flat. And that will be the little pocket for the card. And this will sit just inside here. And then you can see your card will fit perfectly. And it's okay if it sticks out a little bit because that'll just, you're not going to see it when the card is closed, right? Let me move some of this. Okay, next, we're going to grab the bottom piece again and we're going to start putting this together. So we're not going to put the card on yet. And again, remember, so you want the side that you taped on the left side when you secure this down. So we're going to put tape on the back of this blue side. And I'm only going to go from the blue to the blue. I'm not going to go all the way to the white, just in case this is a little bit big or whatever. It won't get stuck anywhere when you try to open and close the card. And then we'll also do it on the other one, but this time you're going to do it on the side that has the sentiment. And again, I'm just going from the blue to the blue, just about. You just need enough on there just to hold it down and secure it. All right, so this is going to get glued to or taped down to here. So just remove your tape. And then we're just going to put the tape on the piece. Make sure it's even. Just like that. And then just make sure that it does turn or pull, and it does. And then for the other side, we're going to tape it upside down, and you just want to line up the blue paper with the blue paper. And then at the edge of that piece. So just line it up and secure it. And then now, as you see, as you pull it, it pulls real nice and even. So next we're going to secure it to the bottom of the card. And we're going to use foam. And if you have foam dots or foam strips or whatever you want. So I'm using foam strips from Barely Art, and I'm using 2 of them at a time. And I will put those in the description box on the video should you need to know where to buy some. And this time I don't want to use a whole piece, so I'm just going to measure this and then just cut it just enough, just so I have enough for the other side. Right, then you're just going to take the tape off of one side of it. Don't do it on both sides yet, just do one side. And then we're going to flip this over. And I'm going to line it up so that my card is inside those lines. I'm going to line it up to a 1/2 inch off. And once I get it lined up to where I want it, then I can just push down that one side of the tape. And then I know that that will stick. And then we'll do the other side. and then just push that down. And now when you open and close the card, you'll see it moves real freely. All right, for the top of the card, the top is going to be put there. Again, you just want to, just put the top on there just so I can make sure that this still is looking good. So, and how far I want it in there. So you can see I want it just about right in the center from end to end, because you don't want it to be up against the card, because then it won't close. So you want to make sure that it has room so that it doesn't slide all the way out and can slide back in. So it should go right about here. So I'm just going to take the card out of there, and then I'm going to put glue on the pieces. And then I'm just going to glue this right inside. Again, just making sure it's in the middle. Making sure it's straight. And then I'm going to grab my ruler, and I'm going to stick my ruler in there and just push down on those edges just to make sure that it's secure. Right, that's perfect. All right, for the top of the card, we're just going to glue this top piece on. But before we do that, I'm going to do some snow slopes. So I just have some extra white paper, and I just cut just a little curve out of it. And I have two different sides. So I have a top and a bottom. And I'm just going to line this up to where I want it. I want it to go from corner to corner. It doesn't have to go from corner to corner at the bottom, though, because I'm going to put another piece on top of it. But I want to make sure it is on that top of that top corner and that it looks kind of wavy and nice. So I'm just going to put just a little bit of glue on here to start. And then I'm going to glue this piece down. Again, just line it up where I want it. And then I'm just going to take this and lift up the paper. And then I'll just tack that down just a little bit, just where I didn't have any glue. And then you can just take your scissors, or you can use your trimmer, whichever one you prefer, and then just go ahead and just cut away those sides. And then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom piece. So I'm just going to line it up to where I want it. Now, if you want more curve, you can just do it again and just do a little bit more curve. And I'm just going to do a flat piece because I want some trees to be sitting up on the top there. And so I'm just going to put glue on this piece. And then line it up where I want it, making sure I've got that corner covered. And just like that. And then again, you can go ahead and just cut off any of that extra piece. All right, then this will sit on top of the card. I'm not going to use, you could put embellishments and make this a little bit thicker, but I'm just going to glue this down. So already, this card already has enough thickness on it. So we'll glue it just like that. And then we'll secure the top to the bottom of the card. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use the foam tape. And we're going to put it on the other side now of these blue strips. And I'll just keep this extra piece just for something else later. All right, once those are secure down, again, you want to just take your tape off of one side. If I can get it to come off. It's being a little bit stubborn today. You grab a poker. Okay. So you can do this either two ways. You can set the card up on itself, or you can just lay it down as I'm doing here. Just make sure it's lined up. Make sure you don't see any of the white when you're laying it down. And then just go ahead and once you lay it down, lift it back up to remove that other tape and then just push that down. And there you have it. Okay, again, so the gift card will go in here. Now, I didn't add any more embellishments because, again, if you put embellishments on the inside of this, it might get stuck, so you don't want to put anything on those sliders. All right, so now we have our penguins and our trees. And as you know, I like to just lay things out before I glue them down just to see where I want them. So I think I'll put the little guy just a little bit lower, and I'll put a tree behind him. So I like it like this. So once you have your pieces laid out, then you can see, how you want them done, and then you can start gluing them down. So we're going to glue one of the trees there, and then one on top of it. And then we'll put one, just tuck this one right inside that little hill. And then I'm going to put one of the penguins so he's on the edge of the snow, and then the other one on the bottom one. And then I think I'm going to use some just embellishments. I'm going to do some gold pearls or some white pearls. Let me just get a piece of paper so I can make sure these work. Okay, and I'm just going to put them on top of some of the snowflakes that I already have on, or the little dots I have on here. So we're just going to highlight just a couple of them. Now this, you can do as many as you want or as few as you want. I think that looks about good. Oh, maybe one more. It's hard to see them right now. All right, so the last thing that we need to do is we need to put the arrows on the sides. So I'm just going to use a white pen, and I'm just going to line this up again, making sure that it's even. And I'm just going to put just a small arrow on each end, just like this. If you had arrows, or if you had, pull here, slide here, whatever you wanted to use would be fine. And that is it. That is our gift card holder that we made today. I want to thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Until next time, happy crafting. Watch for your December folder. See you soon. Bye-bye.